Welcome to The Rite of Passage with Vanessa Riley, the podcast where storytelling meets passion and every page turns into a new adventure. I'm your host, Vanessa Riley, and together we'll dive deep into untold histories, reflect on current events through a historical lens, share behind-the-scenes writing insights, and explore the ups and downs of the author's journey. From rich historical novels to unforgettable characters to pop culture's intrusion on the written word, hey, we're going to explore it all. So grab your pen, your notebook, and let's begin our journey through the written word. Let's start your rite of passage. The sensitivity of sensitivity reads. One of my first essays on Substack was when I was testing out what I wanted to do, and I wrote about my editing process. Before I began podcasting, I was exploring my platform and had just gone through a brutal but necessary copy edit, and I wanted to talk about the lessons learned. Right now, in the ethos of publishing is a bit of a scandal. And writers, when given feedback about an offensive bit of dialogue in their novel, decided to keep it in, to show the main character as flawed. Yes, racism is a flaw. Expressions of racism in a main character, a romantic hero, is a flaw. I do really like my romance novels. Well, all novels, without a side of microaggressions. Some people will argue that everyone is too sensitive or too woke. Oh, the horror. Others seem to long for a time when publishing was less scrutinized, less inclusive. You know, when inflammatory content could be published without consequence. Some long for those so-called good old days, when most books catered to a dominant perspective, reinforcing loud stereotypes, atmospheric patriarchal notions, and subtle supremacy. Words are powerful. They can expand imaginations and help build better societies. When an author is not sensitive to the needs of others, that author will be found arguing with reviewers on social media, making faux apology videos, and getting publishers in trouble. If the scandal arising from publishing microaggressions, stereotypes, culture appropriations, or racist and ableist sentiments is big enough, that author may face bans or delays in publication. If they have a fan base, they will be all right. I just don't think it's worth it. No insensitive hill is worth dying on. I'm 27 books into this process, 25 published with number 26, A Wager at Midnight, set to release on March 25th. I value opinions, especially those different from mine or perspectives and backgrounds unlike my own. I actually get nervous when an editor gives little to no feedback. I want it all. Iron sharpens iron. Critiques are how writers improve. So let me pull back the curtain and share my process and how edits and sensitivity fit in the writing process. First, I write the worst draft in the entire world. I mean horrible, like stinky horrible. Then I revise it. Then I revise it some more. Then we get a developmental edit. Then there's more revision. Then there's a sensitivity review. Then we copy edit. We proofread. And through it all, we are praying that this book is going to be phenomenal. Let's get back to the worst draft in the world. Every writer has to know how they write. I understand that my first draft needs to be somewhere between 25 to 30% of the final book's word count. Why, you may ask? Because I'm an overwriter. Any more than that, and I'll overwrite the book when I revise it. That first draft is naked. I spend time revising, adding mood, colors, settings, historical flourishes, and emotional depth. I usually revise the awful no one will ever see it draft 3 times before it goes to the next stage. Developmental edits. Developmental edits tackle the big picture elements: story structure, pacing, plot, character arcs, and themes. This stage addresses questions like, does the story flow logically? Are the characters well developed? Are there plot holes or inconsistencies? What's the message? What's the theme? For every book I write, I hire a freelance editor. My Felicia is Felicia. My Felicia gets the manuscript before my acquiring editor gets it. Why? I want to turn in the best possible version of this book so that the editor won't have to spend time plugging plot holes, catching redundancies, etc. One time, Felicia caught when I changed the name of a character mid-story. That's not one of my finest hours, I must say. But she knows me. And more importantly, she knows what I'm capable of delivering. I can confidently hit send to my acquiring editor knowing the manuscript is good. My editor gets it, and with their input, we can make a great book. Back to revisions. Back in my hot little hands with editor's notes, it's time to revise the manuscript again. This is my chance to refine it. I will rewrite sections and cut stuff. I'm rarely asked to expand, such is the happenstance of being a wordy, word-loving author. But I'm brutal at this stage. No word, storyline, or character is safe. I will cut. I will cut with abandon. In my next historical fiction, which is coming out in January 2026, I cut 55,000 words. Let me say that again. 55,000 words. Yes, it sucked. It hurt. It's not like these words could be put into another book, but it was the best call. The book is better for it. I believe in my editor's feedback. I'll do what's necessary to send readers the best book, something that transports them, changes things. But we're not done. At this point, we're in good shape. Let's get back to being sensitive. The sensitivity touch. Sensitivity readers are supposed to review the manuscript to ensure your beautiful words don't offend, get you sued, or put you on a watch list. Every one of my historical fictions, Island Queen, Sister Mother Warrior, Queen of Exiles, has been subjected to sensitivity reviews. My editor, publisher, and I want to make sure these books are accurate and respectfully represent cultures, identities, and historical events. It's a crucial step. It cannot be overlooked when tackling diverse characters or sensitive topics. Look, I'm Black. I'm of Caribbean descent. Dad was a Trini and Ma was a Southern Black Baptist. I don't get a pass to say I can automatically write about Haitian and Jamaican cultures. I do meticulous research about the most minute details because I take my responsibility very seriously to represent these cultures and ancient peoples with respect. But I'm not perfect. I want the help I need someone to kick my manuscript and put it through the emotional, cultural ringer before I get lit on fire by putting something out that's wrong or worse, offensive. Sensitivity readers provide essential notes on areas that may inadvertently cause harm or perpetuate stereotypes. Writers, we're not supposed to do harm. Stories have power. They have a life and energy of their own. Authenticity and inclusivity elevate your writing. Don't you want positive impact? Copy editing and proofreading. We're not done. I know it sounds like a long process. Be patient. Copy editing and proofreading take our writing to the finish line. Copy editing hones in on the finer details and examines grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, consistency, and clarity. The previous edits have messed with the story a lot. A copy editor should identify errors and flag inconsistencies. A good copy editor will highlight blocking, the entering and exiting of characters from a scene. Repetitive words or phrases, those dreaded echoes. A great copy editor will teach you something. I recently learned that hubris wasn't used until the mid-19th century. This is a fascinating tidbit for a proud historical writer trying to write a 17th century novel. A proofreader does a final pass before publication. They catch lingering typos, formatting issues, and minor errors that slip through earlier stages. Even the most seasoned author can't catch every mistake, not on their own. Proofreading ensures your book meets top quality standards. My mantra for edits. All the hard work in crafting a story means nothing if you neglect editing or decide on a whim to leave in something flawed for kicks. Welcome to my TED Talk. Number 1, absorb the critique. It's not an attack, it's insight. Sensitivity edits aren't judgments on you, but your characters. Listen to the wisdom. Number 2, weigh the critique. There's a difference between personal preference and a flashing red light. Know which you're dealing with. Number 3, have your sources ready. Have your references handy to support accuracy. Include them in your author's note. Someone is bound to have questions. PSA, always add an author's note. Number 4, query, don't assume. Never make a decision to revise or not based on assumptions. Challenge both your own and your editor's perspectives. Make sure neither is rooted in a colonizer's lens, unless you're literally writing about Christopher Columbus. For example, a copy editor once tried to tell me the Coe people were incorrectly addressed. She said that name shouldn't be used because they were named Coazans, and that was in 1928. The Coe have existed since 2300 BC. My book was set in 1675. I think Coe is good. Source documents are in my author's note. Question, dialogue, and POV. Read the editor's notes. Sometimes they are right about sounding too formal or stilted. Read actual correspondence from the period. It will surprise you how informal things can be. Make sure you read James by Percival Everett or Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. Two masterful uses of dialogue entwined to tell ancient stories for the modern audience. Be humble is number 6. Negative feedback stings, but it's a tool for growth. Questions and queries are opportunity to clarify, refine, and strengthen your work. Number 7, avoid harm. Represent cultures with authenticity and respect. Sensitivity edits helps you sidestep pitfalls that could undermine your credibility. Number 8, if someone flags an issue, fix it. Even if you don't see it as a problem, take it seriously. If one reader finds something harmful or offensive, chances are others will too. If you're dealing with fictional characters, you can change stuff. If real people are jerks, that's harder. See A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn to learn or debunk ideas about the hard exploits of Christopher Columbus. I don't believe in whitewashing or hiding the truth. Dismissing concerns is not a big deal is a failure. It is a big deal. Rise to the moment. Editing is an investment. It's not just for your benefit, but for your readers. Every stage, developmental edits, revisions, sensitivity reviews, copy editing, and proofreading are needed to make your novel the best it can be. Your story, your readers, and your publisher deserve that effort. Don't be defensive. Do the right thing. Books talked about in this episode are in my show notes. This week, we are spotlighting Foxtail Books through bookshop.org. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you'll come again. This is Vanessa Riley.